Well, hello everyone. I don't know, just slightly different greeting. You've got a car like this that's hitting the 15-year mark. One of the things that you might be wanting to do is to preserve said car, if it's something you particularly want to keep. Now this is a 1997 General Motors Holden VS Commodore. Now this video is not specifically about this car, it's about practically any car anywhere in the world, and it is about rust prevention. And here are things you can do for either very little money or just about free to stop your car from rusting out. Now commonly where cars rust out are places like, okay, in this particular vehicle, if I open the boot lid, and the struts in the boot lid are naturally rooted, is around this area here on the top. Now it seems like a really odd place for it to rust out until you realise, wait till this noisy piece of crap goes past, until you realise that the reason why they rust out there generally is because these cars have seen a bit of dirt road action. Actually it's seen a lot of dirt road action, and what generally happens is things like this, and we're behind tail lights, you can see this is covered in a real lot of red dirt up in there. You get little starting bubbles of rust, like, I don't know if that is or not, it probably is. Very minor, like it's really so easy to fix. Like, I know I've bought a lot of cars over the years, and you know, like the XE that I had, if anyone remembers that, you know, it looked like a great car, and then you start pulling it apart and it's, damn, it's rusty everywhere. And I started seeing a pattern with different cars. I've owned a lot of different types of cars, like more than you'd even think, you know, a 30-year-old guy could have owned. Oh well, a year off 30 anyway. You know, and the pattern that I started to see was that anywhere moisture and dirt accumulate, or even just moisture, but especially dirt, if you can keep the dirt away, then things dry out. Now, there's actually a lot of dirt behind here. This has been here for a long time. Now this has probably been here, in fact, well, I've owned the car for several years, and it's been there for probably longer than that. So for 10 years plus, it's had this mud behind the, you know, quite a lot of mud behind here, and it blocks up drain channels. Here's a stone, for example. Now that stone rattling around in here, every time you go around corners and stuff, it's going to take paint off. It'll start to sandblast the inside of that taillight recess, and the only thing preventing the rust is, apart from it being clean and dry, is paint. You take the paint away and the steel starts to basically decompose, and things like that shouldn't be in there, should they? Well, this I've just hosed it out, and there's another little stone, you know, down here. You really need to get rid of all the stones, like these little bits of stones and things. Yeah, it just falls out like that. You know, and even this bit looks like it's not part of the car, but it actually is. It's spot welded in. So to change that would be a real pain in the arse. So much easier to just simply clean it out. But I've given this a hose out, but it's not really good enough because there's still a layer of filth over everything. Now the best thing to do to prevent rust in an area like this, and up in here, the same thing on this side, it's starting rust, it's very, very minor. Extremely minor. The best thing to do would be to take it back to steel wherever there's rust. Use a rust converting product like phosphoric acid. Follow the directions on the bottle. Don't just, you know, if you're going to buy products, you've got to read the instructions that come with the products, because the chances are good they're not going to do their job effectively if you don't actually follow the instructions. Things like these little rubber seals and gaskets. Now you may think they're only just to keep dust and water out of the boot, but they're also there to prevent the paint from being rubbed off around them. You can see that, you know, the paint's still there. Now if they're missing, you really need to cut out a disc of rubber or something and stick it down, you know, just sort of force it down there, because you don't want the paint to be rubbed off by hard plastic. Things like these, you know, bump stops for the boot lid. Shit accumulates under there and it's going to rust out. Same thing around these seals. Now the best way of fixing this is to actually replace the seal completely, because it's all, you can see it's collapsed. You know, there's no give left in the seal, basically flat. If the seal's not pudding anymore, it's not going to put pressure on it. Now, this is another place they like to rust out. Well, it's actually getting fairly dark. Not that you can tell because the camera's AGC control and the aperture are compensating for it. But I've noticed a bit of crap coming out of the, running out of there. This isn't bad, it's pretty clean. You know, don't forget to clean off those rubber discs. But it's not totally clean, like there's a bit in there that it's all dirty and shit, but it's dirt. But that's a lot better than it was. There's obviously a few bits of rust starting to form under there. And they need to be all sanded back, and the inside of this needs to be given a good coat of protective paint. It's the same thing with here. You know, it's not rust, it just looks like it. But yeah, it all needs to be sanded back. All this crap needs to be given a good coat of protective paint. Even shit like where it's rubbed through the paint there needs to be fixed. And these things seem to have a coating of some grease or some sticky stuff on the lip there, but I'm not sure what that is. But you know, do pay particular attention to replacing that boot seal and cleaning all the junk. You know, this lip where the seal clicks onto. Clean all the crap off it. Now, like up here, I haven't finished cleaning it really. Just sort of a rough clean, but that's, you know, like behind these little cover things, presuming they flick off. I haven't really, maybe they're part of the body shell. Not really sure. They look like they flick off, but that or it's that or they attach under here somehow. Yeah, they've got a pin that holds them on without pulling all that crap off. But that's a good start. And it's the same thing with the other places they like to rust any cars, you know, around the wheel arches, you know, and you got dirt and filth, you know, and here as well, and all this crap and dirt and shit. You really need to scrub it really well clean, and I'd be giving it a coat of paint first. I mean, ideally you'd strip off all the deadener that started flaking off already, but you need to clean off all the old deadener if you can. If you can't, just give it a really good scrub, some kind of rust preventative paint, and get some new deadener, which is that tar stuff. You know, the sills, if they have drain holes, I don't think this does, but if they do, you need to clean the drain holes out. The end's copped a whack there at some stage. You know, not out of the question of having fixed at some point. Behind the guards, they like to fill up with dirt. Any drain holes or chambers, they need to be cleaned out. So that's really, you know, okay. Around this windscreen rubber, if there's any rust or, you know, starting rust, really once it rusts it's too late. You need to get it before it starts rusting. And this should be part of, you know, washing your car, by the way. This is the stuff that they don't tell you to do. You know, when you see how-to videos on washing your cars and shit, you really need to start taking them apart, you know, and clean all the, you know, all the crap that likes to accumulate out. Because if you don't, mud takes like a month to dry out properly, unless it's really hot weather, and the mud will kill your car every time. It blocks up drain channels so they don't work properly. Things like, okay, you know, these are piss easy to clean out. They have these bungs that you pull out of the door. That's for cleaning out these drain holes. There's one there. Okay, and there's one up the other end. There's even one in that corner there, you can see, presuming the strap's in the way of the camera. Yeah, one there. So you really need to clean all this crap out, and there's one there too. You know, they give you these knockouts to clean it all out properly, and there's one at the other end as well. You can see it. You know, it's right here. I'm not going to pull it out at the moment. But there's no excuse, especially if you've got these bungs, you just pull them out. 5 minutes every time you wash your car, or every month maybe you should do that. Never park your car under a tree. You know, I keep saying this to friends and family and stuff, but the message never seems to filter through. And you know, the fact is, if you park them under a tree, all the leaves and shit fill up all the channels and shit, and yeah, it'll rust them out. So It's just something to keep in mind.